Plowing up in Lake Park, Iowa tonight. Having some problems with this third to back bottom. This spring keeps tripping up. Looks like this shares is bent down. When it goes in the ground, it'll trip that spring up because the dirt is pushing this and then it's pushing it back, which causes that spring to shoot up, and that's when I know something's wrong. I'm gonna set up a quick time lapse and kind of show you guys what we have to do when we change these. Yeah, I just got done changing this share. Here you can see this tip right here isn't pushed back, so hopefully that helps keep that spring from staying down, and that means it'll be doing a better job. Just got to the field here Monday morning, still up in Lake Park, Iowa. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of things we have to do in the morning to kind of maintenance these plows. So we always turn the batteries off when we are gone for the night or the weekend. So we have to come over here and put these batteries on quick. The plows actually settle quite a bit overnight when they're not being used. Oh man, this is getting stuck. So after we turn the batteries on, we come back here and look over the plow. Now I greased this Saturday night, so I won't have to do that this morning. And those are 40-hour Zerks mostly. And this plow actually settles when it's left alone for a long time. The bottoms just sink down, the hydraulic fluid isn't pumping through it. So we're gonna actually go inside the cab, start it up, and raise up the plow so we can do some maintenance on it. Maybe change a few shares if they're worn down. I'm also gonna fuel and def up the quad, both quads actually, and I'll look over the plows. They both are greased, so I won't have to grease anything, but I'm gonna hop up here and raise it up. So after we fire it up, we'll go over here to the hydraulics. These three switches run the plow. Now the front one will raise the front up, middle one the middle, and the back one the back of the plow. They're kind of buying some corn. That's just the radio.
Like 28.
So we'll hop out here. Yeah, so we have to grease all the 10-hour Zerks every 10 hours. We usually try to do that if we have any maintenance to do during the day. We'll just start greasing it while we're waiting there for the service truck or extra parts. Looks like we're missing a lay right here, or a share, so I'll throw another share on there. And what we look for here on the shares, if this tooth right here is bent down, like I showed you guys in the previous video, that'll trip that bottom up and it won't be in the ground, so that's not good. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Greasing and replacing wear parts. We have had some troubles. You can see we've been welding on these bolts back here. These bolts are snapping. The fields we've been in are pretty rocky thus far, but otherwise things are going pretty good. I think we have just over 7,000 acres, not 7,000, 700 acres plowed already up in Lake Park, and we haven't had a full day yet with both plows running. Hopefully we can knock out the rest of the plowing up here maybe tomorrow night, or roughly around there. We actually welded these crates on to the plows to keep over wear parts. You can see we got our lays, our shins, our landslides, stuff like that, stuff we have to change pretty regularly. Alrighty, after all that maintenance and fueling up, we are ready to go. I got my lunch, a little pack of cookies. The 14 bottom I'll get running right now, and then hopefully later we'll get that 12 bottom running also. But hopefully that those past couple videos kind of showed you guys what we have to do in the morning for maintenance. And at some point during the season, I'll do a video of us greasing it up and maybe doing a little bit more, changing wear parts and stuff like that. But we're gonna get rolling. Just got up to the plows here this afternoon. About a week ago we got rained out and moved over to Superior, Iowa. Must have been Thursday morning, Wednesday morning, so a little less than a week ago. Haven't been up here plowing at all this week. The chicken litter guys are just starting to spread this field of chicken litter. We'll plow that in. Got quite a bit of maintenance in here to do on the plow. As you can see this shin right here is cracked, broken on top. I'll change that. Looks like that mow board's kind of cracked a little bit too. Some of these shares I'll probably change too, like this one you can see is still good. because it's got that tooth, which means it'll keep sucking it down. All the landslides look pretty good. I'll probably grease this up, change a couple shares, change that shin, and then I will get rolling with this 14 bottom. I think the 12 bottom's already running. Hopefully we can knock a lot out today and move back south later in the week. But I'll set up a couple time lapses of me changing the shares and stuff. Alrighty, so I gathered up all the things I'll need to change this share here. I got my new share, my impact with the correct socket, same size of wrench just in case. I got a scraper to scrape all that mud off when I'm done. Taking this one off, I'll scrape it off, make it nice and clean for the new one. I got a vice grips because sometimes those bolts pop out. You gotta tighten that vice gripper on it so it doesn't spin, so you can take that nut off the back. Then I got a bucket of bolts and nuts, and of course a pliers, because you're not really a farmer if you don't have pliers on you at all times. So I'll set up a quick time lapse here and kind of show you guys what it's like to take off a share and put a new one on. Alrighty, now that all the shares and that one shin is replaced, I'm going to go through and grease the whole plow, and I'll set up a time lapse of me doing that. There's quite a few grease zerks on this thing. I mean, there's a 40-hour one on each arm, which I'll do. It's been about 40 hours. And then I'd say there's about 10 here on this back piece, probably 10 or 12, 15 more in the middle, and then probably 10 or 12 on the very front of the plow. So it takes quite a while. Usually about 2 tubes of grease will do it, but I'll set up a time lapse and kind of show you where all I have to do that all. Just dug up a rock with the plow, and I'll always take 2 flags out. I have a flag holder there on the plow, a couple flags, and I'll put them around this rock. That way, in a couple weeks, hopefully somebody can come up with a skid loader, drive out in the field and pick all these up. That way they're not there in the spring when we come through with the cultivators and level the ground before we plant it. I'm actually going to walk here behind the plow and make sure none of the bolts are broke, nothing's bent or cracked. And if it is, I'll change it before I get going again. Alrighty, we got her all patched up. We are gonna be good to go. Yeah, this was pretty good, pretty nice sized rock that it took to bend that, but we got her changed out. We'll put our used or broken plow lay, put it in that crate up here, put it in there, get all of our tools, all the extra bolts and nuts that we took off. Don't want to leave any metal in the field. Just finished up plowing up here in Superior. We're going to be moving down to Emmitsburg here pretty soon. But there's a couple things we have to do when we move fields on the plows. So this lever right here controls the third hydraulic, and if that's up, the plow will go up and down, and if it's down, it'll move this back wheel around. So when we get on the road, we'll do it in the field first. I'll hop up in the cab and show you guys how we do that. First, I'll come back here and clean off all this grass and dirt and mud before we go on the field or on the road. So once you hop in your tractor,
we're ready to get you.
Turn down the radio.
Make it in there, I don't know.
One thing I like to do is, it makes it a lot easier and a lot slower. I'll put it in first gear. That way it's going really slow and not idle up any. So you can see the plow's moving forward. And I want that back wheel You can see the back of the plow swinging over. And I want that wheel to be, that back big wheel to be lined up with that middle main beam when I'm going down the road. See how it's not as wide anymore? And I'll leave that that lever turned down when I'm on the road, just in case I have a really sharp turn I need to make and move that back wheel. But that's how we line that up, and then when we get to the next field, I'll jump out and kind of show you guys how we get lined up again. And I'll throw my hazards and my flashers on when I get on the road. I think he's ready to go and I'm ready to go, so we're gonna head out. Just made it down to Emmitsburg with the plows this afternoon. First things first, I turned off my flashers and hazards. Sorry about that, the radio's still loud. And then I'll switch over the field. And this is section 2? Section 2, I believe. And I'll push new work, because these were on the field cultivators this spring and leveled the ground, and I want this to be clean so I'll know where my passes are and stuff. And then when I get going, I'll turn my work on to see what I've done, and the auto track to actually be able to use the auto steer. And now I have to line up the back plow. You can see it's that back wheel still turned behind it, or it's not lined up the way it should be in the field. And like I showed you guys, when we move fields, I put it in the lowest gear possible. And I don't rev it up at all, so I'm going really slow. We'll go and we'll swing that wheel out. It's very important that these are lined up right so the plow pulls correctly. It's kind of dust now, if you guys can see very good. But I'll hop out and you'll be able to get a better look, I think. Call that good, so I'll click neutral, put in park and hop out. And a good thing to always do is just check over your plow when you move fields before you ever start anything on the next field. Just to make sure everything's ready to go. So this is the back tire that moves. As you can see, when I walk behind it, everything lines up in a perfect line diagonally. If I get up top here, I'm not sure how good this angle will be. You can see everything lines up pretty good. So then I'll flip this switch back here, or this lever, and now the third hydraulic will control the back plow so it'll go down on the ground instead of turning that back wheel. So I'm pretty much ready to roll now. Yeah, that's pretty much all it is to when you move fields, how you set up the plow, set up the field, your auto track and stuff like that. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.